have a discussion on that, and then we'll start the discussion. Okay, so now I am sharing this thing with you. You just wait for that. Hmm. So that under the course of entrepreneurship development and business communication skills, I have decided to discuss a very unique topic: project characteristics, project cycle, and management. That these are this is actually the combined that prescription about the project. That's what are the characteristics, how we have a project life cycle. That all the things we'll discuss. Now, the objectives are very clear. We will try to understand and thoroughly that concept of project and what are the characteristics of the project, then the project life cycle, criteria of agricultural product, and constraint, those who are being arises time and again in between the process of project performance and project selection. So now let us have a first, what is the definition of project? So project is a specific investment activity with a specific starting and ending point, intended to create capital assets that produces benefit over an extended period of time. So it means the project is a specific investment activity with a specific starting point. It means from starting to beginning, starting to end. There are the certain the dimension those who are already being mentioned over here in the project. Then intended to create capital assets. That the project we prepare only to have a further that the creation of capital that produces benefit over an extended period of time. It means there is a fixed duration the project for the duration which we have enlisted the project plan. That is the objective of the project. Project is a combination of human and non-human resources pulled together in a temporary organization to achieve the specific purpose. Yes, this is the project. So project is an one shot time by time limited member directed major undertaking requiring the commitment of varied skill and resources. That is the project. So now let us have a characteristics of the project. What are the characteristics of the project? It is non-routine, non-repetitive undertaking, often plagued with uncertainties, often plagued with uncertainties. It involves coordination of efforts of person drawn from different departments and contribution of outside agencies, and the relationship in a project setting is dynamic, temporary, and flexible. So that kind of these are the few characteristics of the project. So let us have a first discussion on the first one. It is non-routine. It's not a routine exercise. The project is it's a specific that investment activity. Non-repetitive. It's not like that we are repeating time and again. Often plagued with uncertainties. It means often we have the list of the uncertainties, those who came in between the process of project implementation. Then it involves coordination of efforts of persons drawn from different departments in an organization and contribution of outside agencies. All also that is also, it means the project is not just a statement of explanation that how we coordinate the all the stakeholders inside the organization, and how we can assist the how we can take the assistance from the agencies, those who are the part of that project, that we have mentioned in the project explanation. The relationship in a project setting is dynamic, temporary, and flexible. Yes, we can change if at all we feel that that whatever the restrictions, or whatever the line which we have given in the form of the rules and regulation, we timely, if we require that to be modified, that can be. So they are temporary. They are not that whatever is written, it's a constitution, so it can require that kind of that the parliamentary, that is not like that. It's actually the outline to proceed and to achieve the process of that capital creation. That is the main objective of the project. So characteristics of project which we have discussed over here thoroughly. Now project objectives and policies. Well-defined objectives and policies to be finalized before starting a project. It does, but they always in a temporary manner. We can change them if we feel that in a project that this is the thing. But we have to define all the rules and regulations and the game plan in before advance. That is whom we are. That's why we are calling it the project. It serves the framework for the decisions to be made by the project manager. If articulation of the priorities of management will enable the project manager to take appropriate action. So this is the objective and the policies of the project. Now steps in project preparation. What are the steps required while we are formulating a project for any particular activity, either to enhance the business? That the feasibility analysis, which is very important, that how much the project is feasible, because the economic feasibility is very important. That whether the project, when after completion of project, what we are going to achieve, whether it is feasible economically, it is beneficial or not. Because in completion of the project, if the things become outdated, then what is the use of that project? That is very important. That feasibility analysis before project planning is very much important, and that's why the project to be designed just before when the feasibility is to be in a positive note. Otherwise, there is no sense of drafting a project for activity if it is not feasible after the completion of the project. So feasibility analysis is very important. Now, techno-economic analysis, yes, this is also very much important. That which project we are going to fulfill. If it is after that completion of project that the technology will be obsolete, then what will be the use of that project? So techno-economic, that analysis network, that analysis is very important when we draw a project or when we formulate any project. Project design network analysis, that is to be very much art. That in what way we have designed the project, that will proceed. If it is civil work, or sometimes that the any construction, that to be very much that to be planned. It's the future course of action and future requirement to be kept in the mind while we are completing the project. Input analysis, yes, we have to analyze all the resources, those who are the part of the project, and those play a very vital and important role in completion of the project. So that is to be very much important, that the project while we have the financial, that input analysis or not, that to be very much important, that what are the resources we are having and how much we procure all the resources, that how and at what rate, and everything we have to explain that in the input analysis. Then financial analysis, which is the key. If we don't have that, from which resource will have a financial, that the assistance to for completion of all the stakeholders, and for the financial requirement of the project is very much important. So analysis of finance is important, and the task which we cannot ignore. And then the social cost benefit analysis is also very much important. That how much that after completion of that, if we are building the overbridge, that what is the utility of that overbridge? How much the social benefit to be obtained by that all the things, that when the national highway we are building, how much that kind of the network, that infrastructure which is going to affect, that social cost benefit is also. And then the seven, the project appraisal, that is also that very much important, because after that achievement of all the desired objectives of the project, that what will be the project appraisal, that who will going to be benefit, and that to be also being discussed in the project step preparation. Now, aspect of project formulation and preparation, that on what aspect how we will, to whom we will consider just before the project to be decided. So that is very important, that aspect project formulation preparation, they are to be very much important, that how much we will have. So number one, the technical aspect, which is very important, that if the technically the project is correct or not, that to be very much important aspect, just before if we are building a building, or if we are building a bridge, or if we are building a dam, then we have to have that information, that whether the technically is it correct thing. So for that we have to have all supportive documents, those who supported positively on the technical aspects of the project. Institutional management and administrative aspect, these are also very much important, that how we can have the institutionalized approach towards achieving, and the managerial and the administrative, that the resource we very much important for completion of that aspect, that how we can have these all the important aspects will address while we are having formulating the project, that how much the institutional objective to be addressed, that the managerial have the managerial input, that can be utilized for completion of the for some supervision and monitoring of the project. And then the administrative aspect, that what that administrative assistant which is required for the completion of the project, that will be very much important. Then the organizational aspect, that how we will coordinate all the stakeholders of the project. Either they are the within the organization or outside the organization, how we can have the coordination, that to be very much important. And that the person who is leading the project, project manager, that how he can have the management skill to organize all the stakeholders in a properly and desired manner, for the successful completion of the project planning. Social and commercial aspect, they both are very much important, because the socially, if the project is acceptable, it will start a slaughterhouse in an area where we have a lot of the Hindu population, then it will be then socially it is not be feasible, and the of that agitation you will have to face, and ultimately you have to close down that operation of the project. So that kind of social and commercial aspect, that commercially whether it is viable or not, that to discuss, that how we can have the resources, that rely, if we are starting any project, that from this source we'll have a raw material and all the things, that to be commercial aspect, at what price we'll have a labor and management and all the things. So that to be also the very much important while we are formulating the project. Then the financial and economic aspect, they are the key, they are the backbone of any project. If we don't know that how we'll manage the finance which required to fulfill the need and the demand of the stakeholders to fulfill their commitment. So that we, in what way, from the source that we have the financial arrangement, which source we have a credit facility, whether we will use the capital of the organization, or like that, whatever the way we will have will arrange the financial aspect. Then we have economic aspect, which they are very important, that economically whether this project is feasible or not. If economically the project is not feasible, then why we are unnecessarily wasting our time in formulation of that kind of project. So economically the project, if it is viable, then only will formulate the project, and that assess very critically, that we have to understood that. And for assessing that for discounting and compounding, we have to assess properly. We have to analyze both the things, that what will be the future cost of the project, and what will be the present cost of the project. Both the things we have to analyze properly. And if we analyze this thing, then we'll have a understanding that the project is economically viable or not. If it is not viable, then why we are unnecessarily wasting our time over here. So that's why these are the few things, those who are very important, that viability, economical viability is very important before formulation of any project. So that's why we have to have a proper information the economic segment, and then we have a proper analysis and tabulation work and all the research work we have to complete before assessing the economic aspect critically. This is the need of the project. If we are not able to judge the project economically, then how will succeed? So there are the aspects, that the technical aspect first, then the institutional and management and administrative aspect, they are to be addressed in the before the formulation of the project. Then the organizational aspect, then the social and commercial aspect, those who are also very important, and the financial aspect, and the sixth one is the economic aspect. So these are all are the aspects to whom we have to address just before the formulation of the project. Before formulation of the project, now we have a discussion on the criteria of selection of agricultural project. This is also very important, that criteria for selection of agricultural project, how, on what basis that in agriculture we have selection of project, that we have to know, that the work selection criteria. First one, according to this criteria, we are to examine the immediate needs of the area. Efforts be made to directly or indirectly increasing project prospects of agriculture production, income, and employment. So that these, because we are running the scheme of Manrega nowadays in every time in the area where we are just providing the employment. The provision is the prime objective of the scheme, because at the adverse time when there is no employment for the farmers because of the pandemic, or anything like that the agriculture is under threat. So in that case, we will have to run the certain that work plan in the area where we don't have. We will provide the employment to the community of the people. So that is to be the objective of the project. That why we have. So work selection criteria is also very much important while we are selecting the project. We can run the project in an area where we have reclamation, sometimes the irrigational project, sometimes the watershed project. So the what is the objective, and what kind of that work we want to accomplish in that area, that is very important while selecting the agricultural product project. Then priority criteria. According to this criteria, it is examined that the project implement falls under the priority area or not. That is to be very much important. We cannot run while we have we anyhow we are providing the employment opportunity to people in that situation, we have to prioritize that way, that what kind of that activity we design in a particular area, because priority selection is very much important while we are selecting or while we are formulating the project. So these all are very important things that we. So we have completed the criteria on the basis of that the project to be constituted, that we have discussed that on what basis that actually the criteria of a selection of agricultural project that we have decided. So number one, once again, I'm recapping that work selection criteria, that on the basis of the work selection of the project, we will have to that kind of that discussion with. Then the priority criteria, that we have, on the basis of the priority we have to decide that which one is suited for us. Then the social criteria, that is also very much that on the basis of that this criteria considers the direct employment prospect, ecological balance, external pollution, etc. That these are the important aspects, those who are having of social importance, have to be the part of that, that we have discussed in thoroughly in our discussion. Criteria is also very much important, that we know that all what way we have financial arrangement for completion of any of the project. So according to this criteria, it is determined whether the required amount of capital is supplied for not for implementation of project. In case the execution is delayed, additional capital is required. That will see that how we can have the project completion in a society. Then the supply criteria, that are this connected with the available resources, physical input, labor availability, and other resources of skilled labor and unskilled laborers and technical personnel are to be evaluated for completion of project on time. That supply criteria is very important, from which we have raw material for initial that construction, and from which source we have to have a labor, that the economic labor is also very skilled or unskilled. That all kind of things, that supply criteria to be considered while we are going to complete or to start any agricultural product project. Then implementation criteria. According to this criteria, the organizational capabilities and managerial abilities of technical personnel are judged. That if they are having of that skills, then only we can proceed further. Project benefit criteria, that ultimate the outcome of the project. This is very important. As for both the tangible and intangible benefit must be correctly assessed and evaluated. In this process, the benefit occurred, and due to the forward linkage and backward linkage need to be specific weightage. So these are the few that criteria on the basis of project to be assessed. Now project management, the that which is very important. Project management is nothing. It is but management of project which involves planning, organizing, staffing, controlling, and coordination of number of that interrelated activities with limited resources, material, money, and time. So project management is nothing. It is just the management of project which involve the planning, organizing, staffing, controlling, coordination of a number of that interrelated activities and limited resources, man, material, and any money, and that these all are the combination of the, if we are managing thing and for a project, to whom we are calling the project management. Now project skill. Project cycle, definitely project cycle, a natural sequence in which the projects are planned and carried out is called a project cycle. It's a natural sequence, that in a sequence, in sequence, the projects they are to be planned and carried out is called a project cycle. Phases in project cycle, there are important phases in project cycle. Number one, the conception and the identification, then formulation or preparation, then appraisal of analysis, then implementation of the project, then monitoring of the project, and the evaluation. So these are the six the phases, they are under which we have to whom we are calling the sequence actually of the preparation of the project. So these are the important that the situation and the project proceeds. So we have discussed and explained the project cycle, and now we'll have a discussion one by one. And the identification phase, the technical specialists together with the local leader can identify the potential project for an area. In fact, the technical specialist may identify area where new investment may be possible, can incorporate the suggestions to local leaders. So that identification of project is very important. That what kind of that revolution we change we are expecting in a particular area. That to be the part of that identification process. So technical specialist, time for example, we have Rajasthan Canal. The how we can have that the water of that river Ganga into the area that is a desert area of the Rajasthan. So that kind of that big project they are to be supposed to be guided and with the technical specialists together with the local leaders can identify the potential project for an area. That to be true. In fact, the technical specialist may identify area where new investment may be and can incorporate the suggestions to the local leader so that can because the leaders they are the integral part of the formulations. That's why the technical the people those who are having technical know-how regarding the project formation they have to share that they have to prepare a specific report to formulate project for a particular area. Then the preparation and formulation. This is also the key stage where the project can be prepared by a stage for the purpose with sufficient time and resources by a consultancy agency. That is very important. That in which area, if we are building canal, if we are building dam, that to be we have to have a team of that and all technocrats with us, and that together they sit and their time frame they will prepare a project and which is more feasible. So the following points considered while formulating the project. The location and the site of the project must be based on technical analysis and technical feasibility. The location of project depend upon the physical resources, market conditions, market facilities, and alternative investment aspects, administrative experience, and farmers, then the objectives, technical skills, innovation, demand for product, etc. Due to consideration to be given on all the following aspects for farm, the technical aspect, institutional, managerial aspect, organizational aspect, and the social and commerce aspect, financial aspect, and economic aspect. Those I have already mentioned while I was discussing that what are the aspects when we have a project consideration. Now the third, appraisal or analysis, which is very important that a careful review or appraisal of proposed that project is must so as to determine the soundness before implementation. In fact, the and and appraisal or feasibility study to be done to enough information before advanced planning is made. Appraisal to opportunity to re-examine the project proposal before huge investment are made. The team may even suggest for some additional information to be collected or project may be rejected if the serious flaws exist. If there is a serious flaw in the project, then the review committee that to be having the technocrat and all the those who are assessing the prospect of the project. If they found that there is a serious flaw in the project, then they straight away the rejection of the project or with the condition they may impose on the planners that if you want to implement this project, then with these are the few that where you have to have a strict followings of these kind of activities. You proceed for the project. So that kind of warning, that suggestion given by the appraisal committee, those who are appraising, analyzing the project, review of the project before its implementation. Because this project is not it is just the investment, a huge investment of social money, social that is resources. So that is why the care to be taken at every step of the project. So this appraisal and analysis is a very important that thing that it's to be done by the experience and those who are having the expertise in that particular project that area. Implementation. Now, if the project is cleared by the appraisal committee, then we'll have implementation. The most important part of project cycle is implementation. Aspect should be kept in mind before implementing any project. Firstly, a better and more realistic project can be easily carried out, and expected benefit are also realized. Secondly, project implementation must be flexible. That it's not like that that it's the universal that we have to go to the project, because certain rules and norms those we have decided at the time of framing the project formulation. On the time that there are certain that new things that they came into the picture, those who are facilitating the completion and the success of the project to be incorporated immediately in the project planning, because it is not that the project should be the flexibility in the project is very much important. Otherwise, we'll have so many losses. Then the monitoring is very important. It is timely collection and analysis of data on the progress of a project. That if we have the progress of the project in that direction, then it's okay. Then for that we have to analyze the information in the form of the data which is available time and again, and then we can judge the pace, and if we want to further our initiation and speed up the project activity, that to be done only when we have a proper timely that analysis of the data, with the objective of identifying the constraint which impede successful implementation. This is highly desirable, particularly when projects fail to be completed but on time. This is very important. Whether that it is just the pace of the project, whether it is going in a desirable direction or not. That to be done through proper monitoring. And we can feel that the speed up activity can be further expedited. That to be done only when we have a timely monitoring, and then we have information that whether we are missing the opportunity. This is highly desirable, particularly when project fails. It to be completed as per the time in the progress of attaining the set goals. It is imperative to get back on the problem faced by so the effective measures can be taken to improve the deficiencies, which the effective measures can be taken up to improve the deficiencies which have speedy implementation, so that we can assess what are the problems, hurdles, the constraint which during the process of implementation they are coming in front of us, so that can be resolved and sorted out on time, so that we can speed up our project completion on time. Monitoring has to be done continuously to remove offset various shortcomings or faced from time to time with regard to this aspect of the implementation. That is why the monitoring is very important. That if we will not do monitoring, then we will definitely we are far away from the project achievement. Then the evaluation. This is the last very important stage of the project cycle. Evaluation and ex post evaluation is essential for completed project. While at the same time, concurrent to those of going in fact, it provides systematic information pertaining to success of a project. The concurrent evaluation is essential to know the weakness on the going project, so that these may be expected to greater success. However, the overall impact of a project can be assessed once it is over. So that evaluation is to be done, that whether we have achieved the things those we have planned when we have designed the project. So that time that the overall evaluation that can be achieved only when it is completed. But in between, if we have any other the similar project, let us have a evaluation of that project, that to be have our skills, and that help us to completion of the project. These are the six stages those we have discussed over here. That identification, that calculation, preparation, then appraisal or analysis, then implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. So after these six stages, those we have discussed thoroughly. Now we'll have to have a look on the constraint in the project formulation. That the barriers, the obstacles, those they came they came from two sides, internal side or external side. That to be addressed as per the situation we are having. For internal side, that what kind of challenges which managerial skill of individual, that is very important. If the people those who are appointed for the various task completion in the project, whether they are having the competency to fulfill that within that stipulated time. That is very important. If they are not finding themselves competent to fulfill the management expectation, then we have to have that kind of that challenge in front of us, and immediately we have to either impart either you decide to change that fellow and replace with that the person who is having the competency which is required to fulfill the managerial that assignment which we have assigned in the completion of the project. Then the advanced countries project differ from developing countries. Yes, the need of the social that demarcation is different. In Afghanistan, the need of the people and the desire of people is little bit different as far as the US is concerned. So that kind of that advanced countries project may be differ from developing countries. That is to be very, because in the developing countries people they are struggling for the for managing their livelihood. Whether in the advanced countries are the people those who are having the habit of living the luxury life. So that kind of that mindset they need more and more facilities in the project. Where in case of the developing countries, the people they how they can manage their minimum bare requirement through the completion of the project. So these are the differences that they are the internal change, the constant which we have to take into the consideration while we are formulating the project. Then the physical inventories and the infrastructure like land and all. These are also the obstacles. Sometimes we are not able to acquire the land for completion of a project. So that to be that what kind of that barrier, sometimes the obstacles that to be faced by the project in charge when he is implementing the project. So physical inventories and the infrastructure, those are there like land and physical that inventory, that machinery and sometimes the raw material. These all are the physical inventories. This we are not able to obtain these physical inventories on time. Then we'll have a problem. So that kind of that constant we generally we have from the internal side. So number one, internal side, managerial skill of individual. Advanced countries that they have a different kind of opinion and different kind of requirement in the project as compared to the developed countries. And then the physical inventories that like infrastructure and all and land and all. Then the second that phase which creates sometimes the obstacles, that the external phase, that the main external, we know that the man material and situation outside the project, that sometimes create the problem. If shortage of material, shortage of that manpower, like that sometimes the agitation and all, they can have the impact on the project. Government regulations, laws, they are also very much important, and externally they sometimes because of them, or in if there are any changes in them in the law, that to be sometimes become the big barrier in the implementation. The non availability of technical person, this is also a very much important aspect, and the resource mobilization. So these are the few important that constant, those who are we have to keep in our mind while we are implementing the project. And if we address these constant time basis, then definitely we'll have a very much success about in the achievement of the project implementation, and the objective will met. So that is why that the concept of project and characteristics we have discussed: project life cycle, criteria of agricultural product and constraint. These all the objectives which we have achieved through the discussion in this project. So thank you very much for joining me